Is ABA getting canceled?
You guys are all a bunch of big fraudsters, grifters.
Is ABA a dumpster fire right now?
The state would pay 40% of whatever you charged. Whoever wrote that bill was an idiot.
Is ABA in trouble?
Nobody wants anyone to steal $46 million. Do I think the industry is going to get canceled?
Should we be worried?
Welcome to ABA Business Leaders, brought to you by 3Pi Squared. I'm Steven.
And I'm April.
You guys are all a bunch of big fraudsters, grifters.
Steven's in a mood today. I don't know. I think that
this topic really bothers me.
Last week, we were planning a topic that we wanted to discuss today, and we were chatting about it, just the two of us. And I was like, wow. I shared with him some screenshots of some social media posts and vibe that's out there in our industry. Is ABA a dumpster fire right now? Is ABA getting canceled? Is ABA in trouble? All of us business owners in this ABA field, should we be worried? And what should we do? What do we do? Because we're already in a stressful. Being a business owner is stressful. We know that. I mean, if you didn't know it going in, you found out pretty quickly. Right. Being a business owner in our field and this quickly growing, changing evolution of ABA and how it's being funded and all the or not being funded, and all the things, right? Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, like, first of all, if you want to learn how to build a business without losing your soul, there's a great book that you can get on Amazon.
Clear on it, but you can get on it. And the link will be in the show notes. Don't worry.
And now it has a journal too, so you may want to
get a journal that will help guide you and walk you through the book, navigating the book.
Yeah, I mean, we had I can't remember his name. I'm the ethics guy. What's his name?
Bailey.
Yeah,
Bailey.
And one of the things that he said was like, sometimes you just got to do good work, and you got to be okay without it being acknowledged, right? And so for like, that's kind of where my perspective is on this. You just got to do good work, right? And for most of the people that we work with, they understand. Maybe they haven't written it down, and maybe that's why you need to get the journal. But they may have not written down what high quality ABA is. But I think that they understand when they're watching it being done. This is what good ABA is. This is what not so good ABA is, right?
Yeah, and I think we've been having this conversation a lot lately, which I'm super excited about. But like your personal, everyone's individual responsibility as part of the team, right?
Yes.
And also the system that how like maybe and you know, I am not a political person on purpose. I tend to I feel like I'm realistic. I tend to be positive, but I also the realism is there. I tend to be easily swayed. I used to say naive, but I think I've changed that. I think it's more like it's easily swayed. And so sometimes when people talk about politics and, you know, all of the like systems and like systems are broken and we all need to take responsibility and all of that, right? Like sometimes I get like lightheaded because I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I'm like, you know, recovering people pleaser, and still sometimes I'm in that category of people pleaser. And let's include everyone and make everyone happy, and let's make sure that everyone gets equal, you know, airtime and blah blah blah, all the things, right? Mm-hmm. But so I am a little self-conscious about digging into some of this. That like, am I going to use the right language? Am I going to say this in the way that I'm intending to say it? So I'm going to try to be intentional in how I say it. But I do want to preface that like we don't have to be well-spoken or understand the ins and outs of this to be able to have a conversation and get curious about it. Because I think that is a lot, right? Like it's easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to, yeah, sure, I'll take responsibility for myself and I'll just be over here and I'll do my thing and I'll kind of just let all of that be over there. But I think part of being responsibility is to having some kind of knowledge and understanding or contributing to the conversations. I don't know. Even know or if any of that makes sense.
I don't like that. That's something that I've been searching for the last 6 months is where does my responsibility begin and end? And I can't figure that out. So like that's a that's a different cover. Everybody's going to have to figure out what kind of load they can carry. And, but like for ABA business owners, I think that it starts in your clinic, your therapy center, your in-home agency, whatever. That's where it starts, I think. And taking responsibility for the quality of care that you're providing or lack thereof, right? And having the self-awareness and perspective that you can look at it as objectively as you can and say, hey, we have some work that we need to do, and not put your head in the sand and just say, it is what it is, right? So that's something that I think we can all do, right? Mm-hmm. And then as far as BCBAs, like, you know, I don't do any of this, right? So like I can sit here yapping, right? Like,
what do you mean you don't do any of this?
I mean, I'm not a BCBA. I'm not a clinical director. I've been there. I've watched it, but I had, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like easier said than done, Stephen. Like, and I get that, right? So I just wanted to share that, right? That I can also acknowledge that this, you know, when you get in the weeds, it can be very difficult. And it's not always as easy as, well, I need to do better, so I'm going to do better. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of moving factors. There's resources. There's the financial stability of the company. I can understand that. But we can all take some small steps, and it starts with awareness, right? It starts with, oh, okay, I can do this better, and now I can at least take some little steps to get there. So like that, and then as far as BCBAs and RBTs, you gotta stop working for crappy companies, right? Like you just like, there are many amazing companies out there, and all of these companies that are doing not so great work, like, they can't do that work if you don't work for them, right? And if you're struggling to find a high quality practice, I have resources for you, right? We can get you in touch with NASCN, right? We can get you in touch with other clinicians in the all around the country that we work with that are doing good work. And so the amount of power that you have to shape this industry is unlimited, right? And so that's kind of, you know, where I'm at this point. And then I've read the articles around how ABA is just a bunch of fraudsters, and most of the training comes from on the job, and they don't really know what they're doing. They don't need a certain degree to do the job, and not all of that is a lie. I mean, the some of that is true. And, again, that goes back to, if you think as a ABA business owner that you can hire someone with no experience and give them the 40-hour RBT training, and then just throw them into a full caseload. I mean, that's why we can't have nice things. That's why we can't have nice things. So you're part of the problem. No offense, right? That is an issue. And so, I like that. Yeah. So
snowballs, right? Because yes. Part of that is because why do we throw staff in without adequate training and assessment of their skills and all of the things, is because we don't get paid for that. It's not billable. No one's reimbursing us for those. So what does that mean?
You haven't budgeted to take
responsibility for what that cost is going to be.
I'm sorry, you're a business owner. You signed up for this. The other thing is
and I say this is like a big sister. I hope I come across as your big sis or something, right? I don't know. There's my people pleasing. I'm like, oh, don't be mad.
Yeah, but you can be mad.
But you can be mad. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel. But it's I get it's hard. I didn't budget for that when we started our company.
Sure.
Stephen was like, you were even like, what do you mean? What do you mean they need more training? Didn't they do their 40-hour thing? Right. Yeah. There was a point where that's where our conversations were. And I'm like, but
completely ignorant.
This child is very different from this other, or they've been on this other case for X amount of time. Can't they just hop on this other case? Well, no, this other case is very different. Right. So, but is that awareness and that understanding even going in, like I say often, like you have no business starting a company if you can't like have the money available to train the staff.
And like we can
kind of where this comes
and
from,
we can talk about 1099s. Don't do that, right? Like we've had many podcasts on the don't do that. Like 1099, don't just stop, right? The not paying for drive time, stop. Not paying for required training, stop. And so there are things that are all too common in this field. And again, this is from well-meaning BCBAs trying to do the right thing. And when I'm talking to customers or on a free consult, and I've heard, well, yeah, we're just doing these one or two things, like, and I'm sorry, these are structural, like these are like, this is the foundation of your company. Oh yeah, only one or two of the corners of the basement are completely blowed up, right? Like the rest of the house is totally fine. No, I don't think so, right? And maybe, but most of the time when we start down this path with an agency where they are, again, unintentionally doing some pretty, I don't like.
Questionable?
Yeah, that's a good word.
Unintentional?
Yeah, it's I don't believe, like, again, most of the people that I talk to, oh, I didn't know that, right? And so how would I know that? I mean, I still to this day, like, we started a billing company, right? It's an awful idea. And like so we'll start with somebody in a new state and they'll be telling me, oh, you got to do this and that. And I'm, how would I know that? Right. Like, so like I get it. I understand. Like, you didn't go to school for ABA business ownership, right? Which is probably why you should get the book. But no, but seriously. And so you get into this, you think, I can do this. And there isn't that understanding of all of these issues that could come up. There isn't a foundation to the company. We haven't budgeted, and then we're in the weeds and we don't know how to get out. And so like it is what it is, right? So, and I get it, but there are some questionable things that are happening in the industry. And then there's fraud, and that is also 100% happening. Billing for break or billing for naps. Can't do that, right? Billing one BCBA under another BCBA because you just can't get them credentialed. You can't do that, right? And so there is fraud. And then you have these extreme cases where the latest article was like they found a company in Minnesota that like billed $46 million fraudulently. Did they? I don't know, right? Like, maybe. I would like to see it go to court. Like, I would like to understand how that happens. But apparently they got diagnoses that they shouldn't have got, and they billed for hours that they didn't do, and they were paying off parents. That's awful. Those are terrible things, and they shouldn't happen. And if they were actually true, then those people should get punished for it, right? There should be justice. They should have to pay that money back, right? But there's been a lot of fraud going on in healthcare for a very long time. And I posted this on Facebook, I don't know, months ago now, and like you can call me a whataboutist. I honestly don't care. But like, if before we got on the air, I said, I made this go like, so, and I'll switch it around so I won't be sexist. But we're doing our home finances, and
this is just an example, by the way.
Yeah, this is not true.
This is not true.
And so, our accountant comes on and says, look, guys, you're spending way too much money a month. You can't afford to do this. Like, you're gonna lose your house. And so we're looking at the bills, and I see April got an Amazon Prime account. Why did you get that? We don't have the money for that. And then she looks at the bills, and I spent $10,000 on Lego this month. Like, so both of those things are wrong, right?
I mean, it is very possible that you could have spent $10,000 on Lego.
100%. So both of those things are wrong. One of them is way more wrong than the other, right? One of them is more impactful to our finances, and needs to be resolved first, right? And so, like, you can, again, I get that ABA has its problems, but all healthcare has its problems. Like, does anyone remember the opioid crisis? And like, does any like there was enough? I don't even remember the name of the drug anymore. But there was enough opioids at this one pharmacy that they could prescribe, I don't know, like 10 prescriptions to the entire state. Do you think that was a good, like, do you think that was good? Right? Like, this one pharmacy, like, how many millions of dollars of fraud was there? Right? As far as wasteful spending, the federal government spends $2 billion a year. The entire premise of this fraudulent grifting ABA that they're talking about on unused subscriptions. Right? So like, maybe we tackle those things first. Maybe we stop spending money on bombs. Maybe that's a better use of our time, right? I don't know, but like, cutting healthcare from the most vulnerable population in the country, it seems like it's so stupid. And that is my opinion of what they're trying to do here. They're trying to justify the cuts to Medicaid, and they see this as an area that they can cut. And so we've got to villainize the clinicians doing the good work so that people can say, oh yeah, they don't deserve the money. They're bad people. And so, we need it for the good people. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, again, is there fraud, waste, and abuse happening in ABA? Yes. But like, respite care, right, is like notoriously worse than ABA. And so if the point was, hey, let's tackle fraud, we're gonna do some real aggressive fraud prevention. There are many other things that could be tackled before cutting Medicaid for ABA therapy. So that's kind of where I'm coming at from this, right? And another thing that I've been saying this for several years at this point. But if you're running a clinic with all of your cases are 40 hours a week, 35 hours a week, I said that, like I said this several years. I don't think that there is. I don't think that is where this field is going. I don't think that there is a business case for that, potentially for very long. And so, North Carolina, I believe, has drastically cut the amount of hours that they will allow. So I think it's down to 16 hours a week is what they allow without a peer review. I assume that they looked at the numbers and said the average kid gets 16 hours a week when they're diagnosed. And so we're just, if it goes above that, then we're going to put something in place. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Well, I mean, we've been having this conversation in our support group. If you haven't already heard about it, just a little plug here. It's completely free, no strings attached. If you're an ABA business owner or a leader decision maker, go to the show notes. There's a link there, and we would love to have you. But I think I responded to a message within it just this morning saying that, the person was saying, wow, this is really hard. I'm thinking about maybe just going to like a BCBA direct model, right? Where we maybe provide coaching and parent support, maybe working within some districts and things like this, because this RBT and, I don't know all the details of the situation, but she was just basically saying, wow, this is really hard. And I'm wondering if I should shift things. My comment was like, I think that's where we are right now. I think we, as a whole, in general, we have to, especially as business owners, right? We have to get curious if we're not already curious, dive in and get more curious and take a step back and look at the like different perspectives of, okay, it's not, okay, what are we basing? Whether we're consciously aware of it, maybe like, let's get curious, because maybe we're not even aware of this, but what are we hoping for and basing our budget on, our income or our idea of what we're going to make? Like, are we expecting that most of the kids that come into our clinic to receive services have 20 plus hours a week? Is that what we're betting on? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, is that where we are? Even if we're like, oh, but no, like it's medical necessity. It's what's important, what the needs are for that individual, for that family and all of that. Yes. But can it also be true that in the back of our minds, we're kind of expecting these higher treatment hours per week because that's just what we're used to and what we've done for years? And help me out here. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like, is it just that we're like, we just have to start shifting our perspective of what that looks like, right? And not expecting that all kids are going to be 30-hour, 20-hour cases.
And look, like there are some clinics out there and they work with high needs children and that's all they do, right?
And they truly need those. I mean, some of those kids, you could argue, need more than 40 hours a week.
But I think we can also agree, or maybe instead of but, I'll say, and we can also agree that not every child that's diagnosed needs 40 hours of therapy a week.
Well, because we get those families, right? You know, like that's what we had this conversation before that like, oh, well, you know, the cancellation rate from the family is X%, right? It keeps going up, or it just, no matter how much we talk to them. Well, have we even had a conversation to see if this amount of hours is even like doable by this family? Maybe it's like medical necessity to the 3-year-old, but like how can we meet the family where they're at? Maybe they just cannot get their kid to us for that.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like there's other things.
There's
more things to think about. Like we have to take it as a big picture. We have to look at all the factors. That can't be just black and white.
Yeah. Maybe they want to have a life outside of ABA therapy, right? You have to, like, assuming like you have a 2-parent family and maybe they have 2.5 kids, right? And they're both working 40-hour-a-week jobs. And then their child also has a 40-hour-a-week job. And, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot because the other 1.5 children need to get soccer. They need to get to hockey. They need to get to, you know, badminton or whatever sport, right? Whatever sport that they're into, right? We have grandparents that we need to take care of. We, you know, like we just want to be able to, like,
maybe we just go to the playground,
and just like just chill and not have to be collecting data and not have to be performing and not have to be worrying about, oh, did we do the thing the right way? Like, so there's that, right? And so some of these, while the child may, you know, like you may believe that child needs, you know, 25 hours, but you can only get 10. I like, this is, I don't know. I can't answer this, right? Like I intentionally stayed away from the clinical side when we had our practice because I don't want to have to be making those kinds of decisions. I don't like, that's not, you know, maybe that's a cop out, but like, I don't feel that I should be making those decisions. I think that's
you were always concerned that you were going to manipulate
yes.
And have our clinicians feel like because I think clinicians already like
there is that pressure.
There already is that pressure, right? That they're expecting like you get it. Whether you understand the ins and outs of business, I think BCBAs understand, behavior analysts understand like the dynamics and like. They see that even if they don't understand fully, they get it that okay, this money helps pay for my salary and these tech salaries, right? Yes. And if we're counting on this kid being a full caseload, I then need to justify a full caseload, or you know, because if not, then I might get some pushback. And the pushback, like from you, like in the beginning, it wasn't even pushback. You were just honestly, I didn't understand that then, but I understand it now that you were just honestly asking questions. You're like, you weren't like, why can't this kid get more hours? I thought you said this kid was going to be a 20-hour-a-week kid or whatever. It was more like, oh, that's interesting. You guys said that maybe this would be a bigger case and it's not. Okay. But you were just trying to find out more information. But there is that like, oh, like maybe, okay, well, I'll bump it up like 5 hours just to stay, you know, like it's a very awkward situation.
So like, this is a weird,
there's not a formula.
No, there isn't.
There's not a formula and there's so many variables that come into play.
Yes.
And skill set of the clinician can be a big part of that as well.
I 100% agree. Right.
And looking at the values and what's important. Right. And you know, maybe the family saying, we just want to be able to coexist as a family without our child taking off and running to the street. But we see it more. We see, okay, there's even more potential.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. It can be a good thing, but like there's that.
Or there could be that the opposite thing where like we need to get our child in regular ed. Like that is our goal. And so we've got, he's 2.5. He just got his diagnosis. We're going full and you're like, he needs to be able to have a nap, guys. Like, you know what I mean? And so so
what we're saying here is it's not easy.
There's just a lot of nuance. Yes. And so there is no set, maybe AI next year will come up with what you should do. But right now at this moment in time, like there isn't a great way. Now I think that CASP just came out with something around
good guidelines.
Something around treatment planning. Now I don't think that they go into like, okay, this therefore then means X amount of hours a week. And the fact that again the industry, this field is relatively new as far as clinicians. So like when we talked to ACQ last year, I think it was Eric. He said it was like average clinician had 3 years experience. I'm going to say it's probably less than that now, right? Because of the amount of clinicians coming in to the field. Do I think the industry is going to get canceled? No, I don't think so. Do I think that there are people out there misbehaving? 100%, right? Like that is happening. It's not good. And we should, if you see it, you should say it, right? Like I think that's what they say on our son's playground, right? If you see bullying, say something. Because then if you don't say anything, if they scare you into not saying anything, then the bully wins, right? And so this would be a very similar situation. If you're working for a company that's doing something fraudulent, then you should report it. And whistleblowers typically, if they get if they report fraud, Medicaid fraud, you get a nice little paycheck for something like that. Oh yeah, like I think it's 10% of whatever they find, right? So if you can find $46 million in fraud, that's a nice little paycheck that you got there, right? And so, like, now that goes back to my conspiracy. Was there really $46 million of fraud there? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of incentive to make it as high as possible, right? For a lot of people, right? There are more clicks, the higher the amount is. The government can use that case to cut spending. So because nobody wants anyone to steal $46 million. I think like everybody thinks that that's bad, right? Like, and I think everybody can agree stealing $46 million, not good, right? So what do people say? Stop that, right? And so it's easy to say, well, then fine, we're just going to cut it. Right? And so I think that they're using that. I can't remember the state. I think it was Arizona, but I apologize, Arizona, if this is not true. But they had it where, there was a big, that was one of the first articles, was this bad ABA company was charging $800 an hour for 97153. And the reason why was because of the state would pay 40% of whatever you charged. Whoever wrote that bill was an idiot. They like, come on. Right? Like you didn't think, oh, what happens if they charge us $1 million an hour? We're just going to pay it. And then everybody said, yeah, totally. Like whoever, like I've said this probably 20 times since that article has come out. But when I put on my conspiracy hat, I think that was done on purpose. Like what can you do with that? Right? There are going to be a couple of people that just find that out. And then they're going to bill $800 an hour or $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. Right? And then you can say, oh, look at all those bad people stealing from the government. So I don't know. That's just how I feel. And maybe, no, I'm not even going to say it. So there's that, right? Should they have charged $800 an hour? Probably not, right? Should they charge $200? What about $175? What about $250? Right? Like, you tell me what the right price is. I don't know what to tell you. So maybe their services were just that amazing. I don't know. I don't know these people, right? I don't know their outcomes. So I just think that, yeah, maybe $800 an hour is outrageous. Maybe it is. they would have got 40% of that. So what is that? Like $300 an hour? I don't. Are your services worth $300 an hour? How much do you charge when you consult with someone? Right? I don't. That's all. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's all fishy. Nothing really. I was going to say nothing really surprises me anymore, but I'm almost scared to say that because something's going to pop out really, really, really crazy.
So, like, if you got a contract from, like, I'm not even going to say an insurance company. I almost said it.
No, just from.
If you got a funder,
insurance.
To agree to $120 an hour rate for 97153, would you say, "Oh, I can't do that. That's not fair," right? Like you would take that money and hopefully,
so thankful for
yes,
it.
and I mean, hopefully you would then reinvest that into your staff so that you could train your staff, right? And so, like, that's all I'm saying. Do I think that $800 is the right price? No, I don't. But like, I don't know what the cutoff is, and I don't think anybody can say they know what the cutoff is, right? There are some doctors that just work at a network because they feel their services are so much better than everybody else's and they can't charge enough. So they're going to do it the way that they want to do it and they're going to charge the amount that they want to charge. If you don't like that, go somewhere else, right? And so, like, I can't answer that, right? Again, I don't think you should charge $800, but hey, I don't know. I don't know the answer. So I don't know what the cutoff is. Is 250 too much? 275 too much? Right? Like, I don't know what the answer to that is. So, but I like, kind of just rounding this out is I think that, we as a field it's going to be a little rough for a while. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny around ABA, and it goes back to what I started with. Just do good work, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah. So I don't know how grounding this podcast is. So, but I do have my stone here that I picked up from the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the perfect little worry stone. I've been rubbing it the whole time. So maybe that gave some kind of grounding. But no, seriously though, like, I think that what can be grounding is when we do have some control in the matter, right? Because we want to know, okay, what can we do? How can we? What do we have? What's within our power? What's within our control? How can we help?
And
right?
I'm sorry.
And so, but I think that there is, it's taking care of yourself and showing up the best that you can, right? Do good work.
Yes.
And if you need help if you're like, gosh, I'm not sure where I stand, right? We do have isn't it one of our free little
readiness quiz,
like a readiness quiz?
Yeah.
I mean, it could give you a good, you're like, well, I don't need a readiness quiz. I'm already in this, but I think it could kind of just help you to start to get curious.
Yes.
And start to ask yourself some questions of like,
I
think that's what this is too. It's some responsibility, but with that, brings curiosity and asking yourself questions and reaching out to others, trusted people in the field and having these conversations and being open. It's
a readiness to scale quiz. So I think that anybody that takes that, and if you get a low score, then you have systems that are not in place that need to be in place. I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I'm going to say that there is a potential for these things for you to make it on the news if you get a low score on the readiness,
right?
You know what I mean? And then
that does give some concrete way of checking in, so you're just spiraling out of control from a conversation like this, thinking, "Oh gosh, it's all going to blow up." And
I don't see it blowing up. I don't, but I do see that there's going to be more hoops to jump through. There's going to be more stipulations. I think, like I said, with North Carolina, I did not read everything that they were talking about in North Carolina, but limiting telehealth, I don't know that I disagree with that so much.
See, I mean, that's the thing too, right? Is like a lot of what I'm seeing, I'm like, is that so bad? Does that sound so outlandish? Because like being more curious probably isn't accurate, but being more like scrutinizing these hours more of like if every treatment plan that comes through or auth or whatever that comes through for every kid has the same amount of hours in it, like I would think that would bring up some red flags. And if you're if a lot of your kids have the exact same goals, like I would think that should bring up some red flags.
Yeah.
Like these things are starting to, I think the companies are becoming more aware as too of like what to look for.
Yeah,
telehealth.
I mean, there are reasons why you would do telehealth, right? But I've had people reach out to me and say, my BCBAs are going to be 100% telehealth, and we're going to send the RBTs into these areas. And I was like, I would like, that was for me, that's just kind of a deal breaker. Like the issue wasn't even that they're in another state. The issue was, well, we want to make sure our BCBAs are safe. And I'm like, wait, do you understand what you're saying? You know, we're going to keep our BCBAs safe, so we're just going to throw our RBT into this house. Why don't you want to keep all of your people safe?
Yeah. But then we also hear from a lot of owners who are having a hard time finding BCBAs
and rural
because they will only do telehealth.
Yes.
And they're holding out for a job with it. And I do question. I get it, especially like if you're like, okay, if I could work from home and save some money on childcare and blah 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 blah, for whatever your reasons are. Hey, I get it. I am 100%
telehealth.
I work from home, and there's a lot of good to that.
Yes.
But as a BCBA, I think we have
this isn't talk therapy.
Ask yourself, okay, would I want to go work for a company that is 100% telehealth? Like, what does that mean? What kind of clients am I going to get? Yeah. Am I going to have 2-year-olds on the other side of that screen that I can't fully support? Or, it's telehealth isn't for every learner.
So like we've talked about a lot of the issues. You can go to our I Hate My Job series, why people are just not happy with the field. This is just the icing on the cake. Okay. Like this is a natural response to an industry that is growing, and that maybe doesn't have enough guardrails in place. And so, I've said this many times. If we don't put our own guardrails in, somebody else is going to do it, and you won't like them. And so this is what's going to happen. Like this is happening. We're seeing this right now, right? So they're requiring accreditation in some states. They're limiting care in some states. And you know what? It is what it is. Again, I get the appeal of telehealth, and in some cases, that may be the only way the child receives care, because they're out, 100 miles from any kind of area that a BCBA would want to stay.
There's always these outlier cases. There are those cases that need more than 40 hours a week. There are these cases who need multiple staff on them at one time. There are these cases where telehealth is the best that we can do, or sometimes is the perfect solution. There are, but what we're talking about is for the vast majority of the people, because I mean that's just how the systems work and the policy is for the majority. And then we can justify and try to figure out how to, and maybe this is my naiveness and misunderstandings, but I do feel that if we are truly giving our learners what they need or closer to what they need, then those individuals, those learners who need more support, maybe more support would be available to them.
Maybe.
Is that too Pollyanna? I don't know.
So like that's where I'm at. Like, I have many reasons why I think that ABA therapy should be the last thing that gets cut. Something needs to get cut. There's no money. There's no money at the end of the month. And we're at $250 billion. We don't have at the end.
For you.
Yeah, we don't. We're missing $250 billion every month.
I can't even fathom what that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. So something has to get cut, right? And so and no one wants to get their thing cut. And so this is okay. Well, we'll do something. Let's make something the scapegoat. And so here it is, right? Like that. That's what it's at, where we're at. Many states are cutting rates or limiting care in some way, or putting up loopholes or barriers for access, and that's awful. But it is what it is. And again, I'm repeating myself, but it goes like, in your treatment plan, can you read it and justify everything in it? Right? Can you back up the amount of hours that you're requesting for that child? those are the things that matter. Can you read your team's session notes and not like blush because you're like, my goodness, I can't believe we wrote this, right? Like it's as basic as that. It really is, right? Like these people that are getting caught are doing really bad things, right? Again, they're billing under a provider. Everybody's hours under the same provider. They're falsifying session notes. They're using people that don't even have credentials to bill.
Well, I saw one thing. It was they were saying something about scheduling around basing the schedules on the rounding rule.
Yeah.
And there was another one that was specifically like towards billing, and I can't remember what it was.
Like you can't have a policy that says we end the session 7 minutes earlier every session so that because that's all we need. We only have to work 8 minutes. Like you can't use the roundup rule. And if you want to get into the roundup rule, we have a billing course that you can take. But you can't use the roundup rule as like a systematic process. The roundup rule is oh man, something crazy happened, and I'm going to use it once this month, right? Like that's what the roundup rule is for. It's not something that is meant to be used on the regular. And so if you're using that, if you're using that all the time, you're stealing 7 minutes times however many times you're using the roundup rule. Like that you can't do that. I wish you could, wish it was as easy, but you can't because you're not doing it and you're saying you are. Like, are you embarrassed by your session notes? Can you read your treatment plans and justify what you're saying there? Does it match the human that you're going to work with? Or is it just a generic cookie cutter plan? Like these are the basic things.
Those are the basic things.
Yes. Would you accept this for your own child? Right. Yeah. And yeah, like, would you allow this person to teach your own child? Right? Like this is, we're working with a company in Colorado, and he was like, Steven, what you're telling me to do is like, just treat people kindly. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm asking you to do, right? Is treat them the way that you would want to be treated. So pay them for the time that they've worked and give them the training so that they can be successful and don't lie. And not lying is hard. It is hard. I understand that, but we have to strive for something that may be out of reach. So that's it. Those are the three basic things: treat people with kindness, and don't lie. Right? Those are two basic things. So, and that's it. Like, do good work. Right? Do good work. Do the work that you wanted to do when you started your degree. Right? Like, you got into this for a reason. What is the reason? What is the why? What is your vision? Right? It goes back to like, what are the red lines, right? What are those lines that you won't cross? That you're just like, I will not do this again. I won't just rush through a treatment plan. I won't just sit back and say, yeah, this RBT, I don't even know their name, is totally fine to do 40 hours a week solo. Like, whatever those, I will not do this again. You need a list of those things that you will not do again. And then start living that, right? Like, yeah. So that's it. That's it. I don't know what else to tell you. And there's no rule or regulation or ethics guideline that can solve this. There's none, because if there's a way to get around it, somebody will. So you just gotta do good work.
I have nothing else to add. It really, truly, take care of yourself.
Yes. If you're burnt out, if you're stressed out, if you're overwhelmed, like, that impacts everybody in your company. It impacts your entire family, right? It impacts all the clients that you work with. And so, like, we have to get you know, like the airplane rule, right? Like, you put on your own mask before you put somebody else's on.
And totally feel like I've turned into, like, I've gone out of big sister and turned into your mom, and that's not my intention here. But, like,
Mama say,
if you, like, okay, so when you are lying, like, it makes life harder. When you're not following the rule and you're going rogue, you're doing all the things, like, it causes so much more stress. And so I do wonder, I'm curious, I've said that word a lot today. so maybe this, I mean, this is kind of how we parent out of curiosity. We try to, at least. So maybe it's not going to come across as too preachy, but like I'm curious, like really evaluate like where your own stress, and is some of your like burnout stress, is that because you're embarrassed of your session notes? Is that because like you're nervous about, I honestly, if I really think about it, I don't think we're doing XYZ correctly. We need a shift. Maybe we are using the rounding rule, even if we aren't really saying it. Maybe we are relying on that, and I am concerned about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's not even about like you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like as like better, you do better too. I hear a lot of people in our field. I mean, these conversations are happening more and more, and so, but how can we support each other
and
through this?
So
right?
like if you feel like there may be some fraudulent issues going on, whether it be roundup rule, whether it be you're billing for naps, or your therapist is on lunch and you're still billing for them while they're eating their sandwich, right? Like those are whatever. And maybe she won't like this, but talk to Kim Mack Rosenberg and have a conversation with her. There's no one else more than that I trust as like a leader in ABA billing, right? She's an amazing person. She's gonna give it to you straight, and she can help you resolve this. But self-reporting is what you need to do, right? Or if you're just coming to this conversation and you're like, whoa, I've got 5 BCBAs and I bill them all under me. Like, what are you saying now? I can't do that. Again, don't call me because I don't want to hear about it. But talk to Kim and see what you can do. There may be things that can be done, but if you just put your head in the sand and say, yeah, man, we're just going to see it. We're going to ride this, right? We're going to ride this out and see what happens. No, don't do that. Don't do that, right? Yeah. And I mean, this is all heavy. I don't know, like you said, if this is grounding or not, but good Lord, right? Like it's a lot. It's a lot. And that, again, I'm joking around about the book, but this is why we built this stuff that we built, so that you have awareness of the pitfalls of starting an ABA practice, and there is a lot of risk involved, right? But again, like we're talking about the basic foundations of the company, and they need to be in place before you start scaling. And so if you're a small ABA practice right now and you can't answer these very basic questions, like we've already talked about, like, can you read all of your BCBA's treatment plans, and would you be satisfied with that? Then you have work to do, right? If you do a session note audit and you're taken aback by the narrative in some of these sessions, then you have some work to do, right? If you're using the rounding rule as a way to get people breaks and bathroom breaks, or smoke break, or I don't know, a vape break. A vape break, is that a thing? Then you have some work to do, right? And if you're not paying people correctly, or you have contract, these are things that we can work on. But you can't just not. You can't just keep on doing it. I mean, you can. You shouldn't. Yeah. So.
All right, you heard it here. Do good work.
Yeah. I think that's it. I really do believe that's it.
And you're not alone.
No,
you're not alone. So there's resources. So we're going to
come to the free Discord group.
Yeah.
Reach out, get a free consult, try the readiness quiz. All of these things are free. All of them are free. I'm not going to try and be a sleazy salesman. I really don't like.
We block all of that stuff from our group. So yeah, like it's if you need anything at all, reach out. Come, sign up for this group. That's a great first step. Even if you just want to listen to what others say, and you don't even want to communicate yet, just kind of get a feel of the group and see how it is. It's a really supportive space. Anyways, we are going to leave that. We're going to say goodbye on that note for today and leave you to ponder. And we will see you again next week.
Oh, I just have one more ask before. So if you are a BCBA thinking about building a company, because maybe you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know about this. these guys are doing some crazy stuff. I saw a post on that last week.
I've seen quite a few of those. Yeah.
Yes, talk to them. Share this post. Share the free consult. Like don't just quit and say, maybe you do have to quit. But give them the resources, because I can almost guarantee that they're not doing this intentionally. Maybe they are. But most people that I've talked to, they just don't. They're not aware of this, and they're busy, and it's just the way life is. So, share the podcast with a business owner that may be able to use it. It doesn't necessarily have to be this grounding podcast, but it could be another one. So that's all. Have a wonderful week.
Take care. Bye-bye.